Hey folks, welcome to the Liberty United show. I'm your host, Jacob Oakes. With me is Casey Fleming. It's a real honor to have you here. I think that what you're discussing right now is very America 2.0, as you put it. We need to be discussing the technology, whether we like AI or not. We have to accept the fact that we're in a technological era and China is making advancements. And so you're telling Americans how we can get ahead of the game. Rather than being reactive, you're all about making sure we're not playing defense.
Well, you have to understand your enemy first. Most people don't realize that China is your number one enemy coming after your freedom. So the whole question here and the whole issue is about freedom. And your freedom is absolutely on the line. And I have a quote in my book called, basically says that the world will be won or lost within the next 10 years or less. But something happened over the last 2 weeks where Trump came out and said that communism is the biggest threat to the future of the United States since our founding. And then pretty quickly after, he didn't tell us who behind communism. But pretty quickly thereafter, the Senate unanimously voted for Senate Bill 444. This is middle of June.
Yeah.
And they unanimously voted. You never hear that word in the same sentence with the Senate. And they basically said it, voted and censored Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party as the biggest threat to the future of the United States. So there you have it. So I forecasted we had 10 years. Now I said 5 years, so I changed that.
Speeding it up.
And if you want to look at the globalists and the World Economic Forum and the UN and the WHO, you've got less than 3 years because their plan is a full takeover, which runs on communism by 2030.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of work to do. And freedom is, your freedom is in the balance right now, and you can't sit on your hands. The only people that are going to get you out of this is really you, because your government got you here. And your government got way too much power over the past many years.
That's very fitting for the things we focus on at Liberty United. We say that liberty is built from the ground up. And it starts with people taking personal responsibility and becoming a principled person. And so how do we balance between looking at a national defense and also people looking at themselves, taking personal responsibility in their own home, their own community?
It's a good question. We are actually in a war today. You're in World War III today. You've been in it. And every American man, woman, child, also Canadian, Brit, everybody in the free world is on the front lines. And it's called unrestricted war. The Chinese Communist Party redefined what war was back over 30 years ago. And it's called unrestricted war. It basically means weakening your enemy from within by all means necessary with absolutely no rules. So you've heard of COVID, right? Well, that's biological warfare. It's all coming out.
Absolutely.
We said it before it ever hit. We said, look out for a biological war. Well, COVID, it's now saying, they say it's a lab leak. I'm telling you, it's a weaponized bioweapon. It was not a leak. It was an intentional lab leak. And if you look at RAND Corporation has these heat maps showing the intensity and the number of flights coming out of Beijing, Wuhan, Shanghai, going to Madrid, London, New York, LA, after the virus was already announced, showing just people flooding those cities. So
yes.
You're at war. The question is, what's COVID-2 going to be like? In COVID-3, you're going to see a mixing. Then you've got, that's biological warfare. Then you've got drug warfare. You've heard of fentanyl, right? Well, it's double the number than the U.S. government reports of 75,000 a year. It's more like 150,000.
We're talking 150,000.
150,000 murders of military-aged young men and women, the future of our country, every single year. The last time we lost 150,000 Americans was World War II. So it's like World War II has never ended. It's this. Let me break it down for you. It's like 2 737s going down every single day. Why in the hell do you not hear that in mainstream media? And certainly, all this cover-up. So our media cannot be trusted. Our mainstream media, certainly second-tier mainstream media.
We're being invaded because this fentanyl is coming across the border.
Where do you think it comes from? Wuhan, China, is the illicit capital of the world.
So going from China, being shipped to South America.
On container ships. And the precursor chemicals from fentanyl, from crystal meth, all these things. And they're partnered with the Mexican drug cartels for money laundering, human trafficking, and all that kind of stuff. So the average person already knows that something's afoot. When COVID came out, they said, wait a minute, we've got COVID and we're locked down. It's taking all of our freedom. My family's locked down. My company's in trouble. My job's in trouble, all that. And our schools, our kids weren't educated. We lost all this ground economically, education, intelligence-wise, training our kids. Everybody wanted somebody to stand up and tell the truth, and nobody would. I wanted somebody to tell. I knew what was going on, and I wanted somebody else to stand up and do it. Nobody would. We were running out of time. That's why I wrote the book. The book is called The Red Tsunami, The Silent Storm, Killing Your Freedom. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon.
You just sold out of 500 copies.
We just
here
sold
at
500 books, sold out of 500 books at FreedomFest here today, this week. So this is what's going on. There's different methods of unrestricted war to weaken the enemy, that's you, from within. So you can't sit on your hands anymore, because if you haven't heard about this, and this is the first time, that's to show you how much you're being kept in the dark and you're being played. So that's what has to happen. So and by the way, that's fentanyl. You've got, let's look at weed. Even American, legal/illegal weed in America, they use Chinese chemicals that are extremely carcinogenic, the herbicides, the pesticides, the fertilizers, and that's the Americans that are growing that for, who knows, medical marijuana, or approved in the states where it's legal, and even the states that's not legal. But here's the other thing. There are over 3,000 CCP grow farms in Oklahoma alone, and another 1,000 in Maine. So you get all this. I connect the dots for you. I connect all the dots for you in this book. I take the intelligence, I boil it down to the average American for every mailbox in the United States and Canada and the US. By the way, Canada's gone, UK's gone, France is gone, Germany's gone, Australia's about 80% gone. What I'm saying is freedom of speech. You can't have freedom, you can't have a democracy. You can't have freedom if you kill freedom of speech. And freedom of speech was killed in those countries, and you can see it's been starting to be killed in the United States. I've done 2 TEDx talks, and I was censored like hell in the United States on my sovereign US soil. You can't say this, and you can't say this, and you can't say this. So it's already here.
Yeah.
So this is what keeps us together.
We're seeing right now that Fight for America, in the past, Fight for America was more physical, and there are physical threats today. But today it's even more technological and psychological. There's a psychological warfare.
That's cognitive warfare.
Correct.
That is TikTok.
So we not only have our government trying to censor us, but our fellow neighbors are trying to censor us as well.
Well, that's absolutely true. It's called cognitive warfare, which is another element of unrestricted war. And the #1 enemy on that is TikTok. It's a weaponized military application in the hands of our children. In the keynote, I actually played a video clip off of TikTok, basically showing a CCP, Chinese Communist Party operative, telling our kids in middle school and high school to start a revolution. Just wait for the signal, go to the houses with American flags. They'll have the money, not the money, they'll have the food and the ammunition and the guns you need for your revolution. Wait for the signal, keep planning in your groups and building your groups. And this is what our kids are seeing between those cute little dance videos and kitty cat videos. They're seeing this stuff implanted in it. So it's a weaponized application into the mind of the child. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So what that also does is it kills your critical thinking. What they're doing is destroying critical thinking, so you can't determine what the truth is. So they can lay all this propaganda on top of you, several of them. Emancipate from your family. Your parents don't love you. Religion sucks. Hate America. China and communism and socialism. They say socialism. It's all the same. Marxism socialism and communism are all the same thing. Marxism, socialism are the softening, the early softening. Communism is the final hammer.
Right, yeah. So our children are being programmed in the algorithm between stuff. They're being subtly and more progressively exposed to anti-American ideas. We need to take power back to the people, and a big problem is the culture. We have grown so ignorant as the people. Even just, I tell people, if you're not going to read the whole Constitution, please just, for the life of me, read the 9th and 10th Amendments. That's it. Just read those. The 9th Amendment is the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. How do we create the social revolution to come back to an understanding of the popular sovereignty in the people?
Well, that's the reason why I wrote the book, because it wasn't getting done. And, when you have a bad habit for long enough, smoking, if you're, when you go through cold turkey, you're kind of going through withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what the book is going to do. It's going to give you kind of withdrawals because of the nonsense of the world that you've been living in. It'll cleanse you, and it'll connect all the dots so you understand what's going on. We all have to get together on the same page. Let me tell you, the left is being played just as much as the right and the center, and we're all at each other's throats by design. It's emphasized through mainstream media, social media, all that stuff. We've got to get back to basics, to your point, with the Constitution. Get back to the basics. And let me tell you, you're at war. You're in World War III today. I just mentioned to you several different methods. Then there's cyber war, education war, economic war, cultural war, political war, religious war, spiritual war, all these different wars that are leveled against us. And if you don't understand it, then you're being played and you're being used until you wake up one day and there's a Chinese flag out in front of your house. And and by the way, anything that you say, you posted or you talked to somebody, it was overheard on their phone in the conversation, then your bank account is shut down because of the digital dollar. All that's shut down because you did not support the communist state that is in complete rule. So, and if you like these movies on TV and you like action or thrillers or dramas, forget it. There won't be any more Westerns. There won't be anything that you want. That's called freedom. There'll only be propaganda that you see on your phone, on your TV, and so on. And if you don't espouse propaganda, then you're going to be curtailed.
Yeah. Some of this is already being implemented in stepping stones with things like ESG, economic social governance. We have, even though in America right now we're not being treated differently yet, according to our social credit score, each of us are being tracked with a social credit score. We're just not aware of it,
right?
But that's already in place for us.
Yes, it is. And by the way, it's American technology that was stolen, weaponized in China, and now brought back to the United States. And China has total social credit scores. It keeps you from going to college. Your kids going to college, keeps you from traveling. If you don't have a high enough credit score, you're cut down to. And then it's also what you eat, how many times you get to eat, and so on. Let me be very clear. Communism, which our president says it's the biggest threat since the founding on U.S. soil, communism controls all production, all consumption. You're going to get one shower every 2 weeks. You're not going to get any beef maybe once a month. These kind of things. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I run an intelligence organization. And so this is all based on intelligence. This is an opinion, but it's fact. And
it's here.
It's almost here. And so you're seeing all this stuff happen. It's conditioning us so we are prepared, and so we're not going to put up much of a fight or as much of a maximum fight when this whole thing drops. And trust me, I don't want to be here talking about this, but I'm one of the guys that will stand up, and this is my World War II. This is your World War II. It's World War III today. This is what it looks like. By the way, the other thing I want to mention in communism is they own all property, all private property. So you won't own a car. You will no longer own a house. They own all private property.
And that brings me to the last line of the Fifth Amendment that says, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. It doesn't just say land, it says property. Anything you own, including your persons, the government has seized up, it's usurped so much authority. And I just want to ask you one last question on the intelligence. How do we guard ourselves, protect ourselves, be aware of what other countries are doing, like the CCP, in terms of spying, and balance that before we're infringing on spying on our own people?
Okay. What I tell people is, I'm not here to sell books. I'm here to help you, okay? Get the book, okay? That's why I wrote the book. I never wanted to write the book. And it's not really a book. It's an whistleblower's expose and a survival guide. Number one, stop buying Chinese goods and services. Look through your mutual funds, your investments, your 401k. Make sure those companies are not investing in China. Get off of mainstream media because you're being programmed and deprogrammed. What else? Get involved in school boards. Join the school board. Get it back to normal because our kids are being compromised in schools and so on. But just be aware, the book will connect the dots for you and you will not see the world the same.
Yeah. You also mentioned earlier that we need to unite.
Well, yeah, unite. That's your great straight man. Your enemy does not want three things to happen. Number one, they don't want you to become informed. That's the book. Number two, they don't want you to unite. That's the movement, and I'll tell you that in a second. And they don't want you to take action, okay? And that's also the movement. Remember, the enemy's already inside the U.S., inside the gates, inside your city. They're here. So there's a movement called freedomforever.global, because freedom is global. It's not .com. So it's freedomforever.global. It's currently a landing page. It was founded just a few weeks ago, and we're funding it. It'll eventually be a membership. I would like to see 50 million Americans, quickly 100 million Americans, to take back our country based on God and the Constitution.
That's excellent. Well, thank you for your time, Casey. We'll really appreciate it. This is some very important things. You guys remember the Red Tsunami. Get your book now. Where do they find it? On Amazon?
Amazon and the redtsunami.com, Barnes & Nobles, it's everywhere.
Excellent. What thought do you want to leave our audience with?
That's it. Get 10 books, pay it forward. It's the most important thing you will ever do in your life. And by the way, read it, of course.
Christmas, and you have to actually read it.
No, not Christmas early. Christmas in June and July.
Yes. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Liberty United Show. Remember, subscribe. We'll see you next time.